Welcome to Lesson 1 of Self-Care and Routines in our Education for Safeguarding unit of work. Our first learning objective is to think about why are routines important. So we're going to think about what a routine is, whether you can reflect on your own routine if you have one, why it's beneficial to have routines, and then to consider improvements on your existing routines or creating one if you don't have one already. So what is a routine? Have a little look at these pictures here. Have a think about how these tell you what a routine is. You may have thought about your meal times, your bedtimes, times to do studying, being at school, times to play and relax, the times that you might wash yourself, brush your teeth, chill out, watch a bit of telly, and anything else that you do on a regular basis every day or every week. Here are some definitions. It's a sequence or a pattern of activity. So something that happens more than once. It's not a one-off thing. It's something that's quite predictable, something that you would expect to happen. Something you might do regularly. So you might regularly have gone swimming every Tuesday after school before lockdown started. It might be a timetable that you follow. So the time you get up, the time you go to bed, the time you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. It could be the time that you brush your teeth or watch a telly or do your homework. Another type of routine is a pattern of dance or movement, which some of you might be quite familiar with, being dancers and gymnasts as you are. But we're not going to be thinking about that for now. We're going to be thinking about timings rather than movement. So I want you to think about your opinions of a daily routine. Think about the emojis here. We've got strongly disagree, neutral, that means you don't really have any feelings, agree, or strongly agree. So think about which one you feel for each one. Which emoji would you choose in answer to each question? Number 1, do you have a routine? Now, I have a very good routine because I love routines for lots and lots of reasons. It's good to break a routine every now and again, so having a holiday or a break from the usual. But so for me, I would say I strongly agree, but this might not be something that you would feel. Number 2, would you like a routine? Again, I have a routine because I like having a routine. So again, I strongly agree. But you might have the opposite answer to me because maybe you don't want a routine. Maybe it's something you want to be able to plan your day using free will. Whenever you choose to do things, you may choose and act upon those things. And finally, can a routine or could a routine be good for you? Again, I agree with this one rather than strongly agree because I know how important it is to have a routine. I know how it benefits me, but I also know that I need a break from it every now and again. So I think it is good, but we do need a break from it every now and again. I want you to think about why this might be. So why and how are routines good for us? There are 3 things on the board here. Research shows that good routines help us with each of these things in our lives. Control, so to be in control of something, to know something is going to happen, how predictable something is. Stress, that feeling of worry, it's good for you. It's good for you, but not too much. You mustn't have too much stress in your life. It makes your heart race. We've done this before in E4S where your body reacts to stress. Your heart races, you get hot, your brain starts to get confused and worried. Your body might start tingling and feeling uncomfortable, and you might find it difficult to sleep or to concentrate. But a little bit of stress is good, and we can actually plan that within our routine, which we'll talk about at a later date. Safety, feeling safe when you know what's going to happen. Again, like control, when you can predict things, it makes you feel secure. So I want you to think which of these is the most important out of having a good routine. Think about which you have experienced in the last 10 days. Have you felt stressed? Has something bothered you? Have you been in control of something, or have you felt a lack of control? And I think most importantly, have you been safe? Safety has got to come above everything else, in my opinion. You might disagree with me. So stress. With a routine, we can reduce the likelihood of unexpected events occurring. Things that you don't expect to happening can be good and bad. So, for example, an unexpected visitor, if it's someone you really like or that you weren't expecting to come, it can make you feel really happy. Although you do get a stress response, it's more of a happy one. Maybe something bad might happen, like you might lose something that you really, really like and you want to have in your hand, or something that you want to do. And it can feel quite stressful when you lose that, and that can feel uncomfortable and frustrating. So with a good routine, we minimise the amount of stress that we expose our bodies to, but we do feel it sometimes when some other things happen outside of our routine, and that is good. Safety. Routines can make us feel safe because you know what will be happening and you know when it will happen. There are certain things in the day that we know will happen. You will wake up in the morning, you will have breakfast, hopefully, you will get dressed, you will, in normal circumstances, go to school. You know that when school starts, you know when lunch will be when you're at school. When you're at home, that's something that you need to set for yourselves, or you might be lucky enough to have a parent or carer who sets this for you. But you know it will happen, and you know when it will happen, roughly. And it makes us feel quite secure because we know that something is predictable. When things like this are not predictable, when we don't have this security, this safety in our lives, it can feel very uncomfortable. And that's where a routine can reassure us. And finally, I mentioned about control. This isn't an exhaustive list, but it's something to consider. Think about all the things that you are in control of, or think about things that you would like to be in control of. Here are some things that might help you with that list of all the things that you are in control of in your life. Do you choose the food you eat? Do you choose what time you go to bed? Do you choose who you spend your time with? Which bits are you in control of? Which bits do other people control for you? If you had a routine, which aspects of this are controlled by your routine to make sure good things happen every day? So as your children, lots of things are decided for you. You can control what you do yourself and in which order within reason. You know, getting dressed, for instance, you can choose if you get dressed and then have breakfast, or have breakfast then get dressed. You can choose which order you put your clothes in. It can make you feel, this control, powerful. It can make you feel like you're in charge of your own life, and it can give you confidence. As long as the control you have is not too much control, as children, it's really important to allow other people to control aspects of your life within reason. So to be able to make your own decisions, it's powerful for you, as long as they are within safe boundaries. Feeling in charge of what you're doing helps you to feel confident. So control is very important for you. So a good routine, what does it look like? There's no one-size-fits-all approach, but there's a slide on the next page, which is a pretty good routine for a 10 or 11-year-old, and you might want to pause it and have a look at that later on. There's a grid coming up where you can write your own routine in, and you might be able to see if you can make some changes based on the example that you've been given. Do remember to be flexible. Each day will differ in some ways, and that is good. Don't be disheartened if you don't manage one or more of your plans. There's always time to go back over them, or to do them tomorrow within reason. Sometimes people overbook themselves, and you have to give yourself a bit of flexibility. So here is a schedule. You can pause this and have a look at it. It's quite packed. It's quite rigid. And this might suit you, or it might feel uncomfortable. I certainly think that when you've got schoolwork to do, waking up at 9 o'clock is a little bit late, but you can make that decision yourself. My daily schedule, this is something that you can fill in yourselves, I'll make sure that there is a copy available for you to do, or you can just handwrite it yourselves. This is the kind of example I'm looking at. 6 o'clock, you should probably be asleep. 7 o'clock, a reasonable time to wake up, get washed and dressed. Some days that might involve having a shower or a bath. Other days it might be washing your face and under your arms and stuff. Then you can see 4 o'clock, an afternoon snack, dinner at 6. Start thinking about preparing for bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Start thinking about turning your lights off. This isn't a, if you aren't doing it by this time, it's wrong. It's just a suggested time period. And obviously the gaps in between, I just haven't filled in. They're for you to be creative with. So we've talked about routines today. We've talked about what it is. We've talked about your routine. We've talked about the benefits of them. And we've talked about creating or improving on our existing routines. Good luck. I hope that we'll see some of your examples, and hopefully you'll see why they're good. Next time we meet, we're going to be thinking about sleep. Do we get enough? Why is it important that we have enough? And what can we do to improve it? Bye-bye.